As you have most likely realized by now, I have a deep interest in attempting to come up with rational understandings of morality. If we are going to differentiate between right and wrong, I think it is very important that we do so properly. Otherwise, what is the point? Today I want to talk about justifications. More specifically, I want to talk about the fact that every action you undertake and every view you hold amounts to a justification. A self-justification of other people acting the same way. Our actions normalize themselves. The more an act is committed, the more it is normalized. As we act, we necessarily normalize. Furthermore, it is absurd and hypocritical to view one's own actions as just, while condemning identical behavior from someone else. We should act based on the idea that our actions represent ourselves justifying others undertaking the same actions. We should hold views based on the idea that our actions represent ourselves justifying others undertaking the same actions. To do otherwise is hypocritical and idiotic. If it is okay for us to act in a way, then it is okay for others to do the same. I strongly believe that there is no way of getting around the fact that every action is a justification of someone else undertaking the same action. Every view is a justification of someone else undertaking the same view. This is inherent to these things. In acting, we necessarily give our tacit approval of that course of action. We justify that action. It is this reality that is at the core of morality. To act in accordance with morality is to act in a way that protects oneself from an irrational justification. That is a justification of one's own harm. On occasion, a situation may come up where one must justify their own harm as necessary to giving another a significantly greater pleasure. In such a situation, this remains rational, as oneself justifies another undergoing a minor harm to give them a significantly greater pleasure. One may have to sacrifice their own well-being marginally for another, but in doing so, they justify others doing the same for them. On the other side of things, one may refuse to sacrifice their own well-being marginally for another, and in doing so justify others doing the same for them. These guidelines are ultimately governed by rationality. To justify some things is rational. To justify others is irrational. Morality is at the end of the day best understood as a rational game of justification. That which is moral is that which is free from irrational justification, while that which is immoral is that which features irrational justification. The moral is defined by rational justification, while the immoral is defined by a lack of. Every action is to be understood at the fundamental level as a universalizable justification, something which endorses certain conduct being undertaken by others. To endorse some conduct from others is rational. To endorse some is irrational. This is what makes the difference between moral and immoral. Every action, every view, is a justification that goes both ways. The key to understanding morality is understanding that everything is a justification, and every justification goes both ways. The goal of morality is to make oneself free from self-justified harm. It is irrational to justify someone else hurting you. It is irrational to justify your own suffering. It is in this way that immorality is irrational. To act immorally is to violate rational rules that protect oneself. To act immorally is to justify immorality against oneself. A cruelty against another is a justification and endorsement of cruelty against you and everyone you care about. You establish the precedent. Your actions necessarily justify behavior and establish standards. Morality is a game of justification. Further nuance could be added here, but I firmly believe that this provides a coherent, desirable, and rational basis for morality. Every action is a justification, and some justifications are rational, while others simply are not. Morality is the art of constructing rational standards of behaviour. We construct said standards through what we justify. Morality is all about rational justifications and irrational justifications. The former is the moral, the latter the immoral. Morality is rational and immorality irrational.